He literally looks for people who are frauds, false polyglots. And he has so many videos. That he fluent or just faking it? He has so many videos. So whenever he sees, I freaking love his content. Whenever he sees someone who makes promises that are absolute nonsense, like again, I became fluent in Mandarin in a week, or nonsense like that, he goes into the deepest, most insane investigations that you'll ever see. How many languages does Patrick speak? And look at this, look at the list of languages. It's a joke. Like, it's become a meme these days. See, this is where he was talking, how many languages does Mikel really speak? And in fact, what this video is, again, we're gonna watch him as well, but what this video really was is that, as you can see, he set out to prove that in 3 months he could have become fluent in Japanese. Clearly failed, because it's impossible. But it's not the first time that he tackles him. And to give us a little bit of perspective, I want to watch a tiny little bit of the beginning of this so we know what we are talking about.
What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing another polyglot investigation, today we're going to look into Mikel, the hyperpolyglot. If you guys have been in the language community long enough right about now, you would have seen videos from this guy coming out, because he literally makes a video every single day. Like this is the YouTube channel in question right here, as you can see, Mikel hyperpolyglot. And if we have a look down,
actually, one video a day for me would be a vacation, would be a holiday, because I post 2. Usually. Today I'm not posting the second video because we are live, but generally that's what I do.
Down here at his videos, he pretty much drops a video every single day in English or Spanish, and it's basically about his specific system that he uses for language learning. Now let's have a look at his more information now to find out what he says. Welcome to Natural Language Learning. My name is Mikel. I am a language coach and polyglot. I speak 12 languages. I developed a highly efficient language learning system. But he hasn't defined yet exactly which languages he speaks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to check out a clip of him where he appears on TV and speaks a little bit.
So many people say they're polyglots these days that they had to invent a new one, the hyperpolyglot, because now it was too normal to be a polyglot. Everybody is a polyglot, so now you have to be, well then, how am I gonna be special? Oh, well, I'm a hyper polyglot. It's nonsense. I'll never use it. I'll never use it. I don't even care. How many languages do I speak? I would say 7. Fluently, 4. So am I a polyglot? No. I'm multilingual. I'm passionate for languages. But this is nonsense. I hate the term poly. Don't you dare ever say, this is Metron, he's a polyglot. Don't you dare. It's an insult, as far as I'm concerned. It is an insult.
Hortik, poliglota eta hiperpoliglota. Noiz da poliglota eta noiz hiperpoliglota?
Ba, poliglota baten definizioa da, 4 hizkuntza edo gehiago hitz egiten ditu norbait. Eta hiperpoliglota bat, duela gutxi arte ez nekien zer zen, baina da, 6 hizkuntza edo gehiago hitz egiten dituen norbait.
6 gora beraz hiperpoliglota.
Hori da.
Oso ongi. Zuk zenbat hizkuntza dakizkizu?
Ba, egunen arabera, baina 10 esan duke.
10 esan duke. Egunen arabera, bat zara beste 12.
Ez denak maila berdinean, eta batzuk, ba...
Yeah, so he speaks 12, so let me see. What is he gonna say?
Esatertu dute dira, baina gero rekuperatzen ditut, behar ditudanean.
Okay, so he says that he's a hyperpolyglot. A hyperpolyglot here is defined as someone who speaks more than 6 languages, and he says he speaks between 10 and 12 languages. We still haven't narrowed down the languages, but we're starting to get an idea of his claims. Okay, now if we take a look at this YouTube video right here, we've got Polyglot speaks 8 languages, and he lists out the languages right there: English, Basque, Spanish, German, French, Italian, Romanian, and Russian.
We got Italian and Romanian, guys. Let's see, people, Romanians in the chat. Let's see if we could see a clip of this, because that would be insane. I'm gonna check the Italian. That's crazy.
Now we're going to take a look at a second video, which comes out, came out a little bit more recently. And again, we've got multilingual conversation with hyperpolyglot, and we've got the languages English, Spanish, German, French, Portuguese, Italian, and Russian.
What's really annoying about this is that some of these people, the fake polyglots, they are like nothing. They're nothing. They are not able, they are not skilled, they're not talented. They don't speak any language apart from their native tongue. They are complete, utter frauds. But then there are other people, and maybe it is the case of this Mikel guy, I don't know. But there are other people that are talented. They are skilled. But they are not a hyper 12 language speaking polyglot. If they just kept it real, Maybe he does speak some of these languages to a decent level. Why don't they keep it? It's this whole thing about hyperpolyglot that when I hear it, for me, it's immediate. Okay, for me, it's automatically nonsense. And then it's like you're innocent until proven guilty. For me, it's guilty until proven innocent, the English way.
But we still do not have the full list, as evident from that. Now, if we take a look at the International Association of Hyperpolyglots, which is something Mikel talks about being a part of, he actually lists out his languages here: Basque, Spanish, English, German, French, Romanian, Portuguese, Italian, Russian, and then he's got Dutch, Arabic, and Ukrainian.
I wish there was an Asian one in the midst, like Mandarin, Japanese, because that would be very easy for me to spot and see, okay, this guy is like maybe... Because again, if you're A1, A2 for the European Common Reference, frame of reference, you shouldn't even add the language. You should add the language as something you're studying. That's different. But you shouldn't claim it as a language, like with a little freaking flag.
So here we've got 7 languages listed. But if we go to his LinkedIn page and we jump down to the languages section, which is usually right at the bottom, you will actually see the full list of 12 languages just there. And we've also got a rating, a LinkedIn rating. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this LinkedIn article right here, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to figure out how the LinkedIn matches to the CEFR. So if you have a look here, we've got elementary proficiency, that is like A1 to A2. Limited working proficiencies, like B1 to B2. Professional working proficiencies, a C1, and then full
Personally, at least an advanced B2, as far as I'm concerned, you could add as one of the languages you speak. You don't have to be like C1 or C2. But like if you're A2, B1, you're a student. So you shouldn't act like a guru in that language. You should remove the little flag. That's just me.
Professional proficiency is a C2, and then you've got a separate one for native and bilingual. Okay, now I do need to warn you guys, I've actually made 2 videos on Mikel in the past, but they were not about his language abilities. They were actually about his system that he claims to teach. And the first one was hyperpolyglot. Basically makes a bold claim you can learn any language in 3 months. I made a video on that, broke it down, and just showed that basically that was impossible, except for maybe in very, very specific edge cases.
Even the edge cases, I'm going to say impossible, unless you already have some kind of predisposition, in the sense that maybe you're trying to learn Spanish and you're Italian, so there is a strong connection, and perhaps you have family members, so you've been in an environment where you've heard the language your entire life, but that's not from scratch. But even then, it depends what you mean. But if you mean fluency, still, if you put me in Spain for 3 months, I'm not going to be fluent. I might be conversational, but it's simply because there is a common ground, and also because I have experience in learning languages, so I know how to optimize, right? But anyone can learn any language in 3 months is a clown statement.
Then a second video I dropped was basically, Mikel, you owe me a 3-month update, which was talking about his Japanese challenge, which he started and then silently kind of just killed off. And the reason that one was important is because it was meant to prove his system of language learning to learn any language in 3 months. And he was using it to learn Japanese, and then suddenly went quiet on the whole thing. And then I dropped this video 6 months later asking for the 3-month update.
Fantastic. And I'd like to say, as someone who did reach provable fluency in Japanese, my Japanese isn't perfect, my pitch still needs work, but I am fluent in Japanese. It took me 8 years, 4 of which were a university major. The other 4, not just a major in Japanese, it's a major in compared civilizations and cultures with a strong subsection into languages. Just want to make it clear, because then people say, oh, you claim that you have studied history, but now you say you have a major in Japanese, you're a liar. No, it was a complex university degree course that I specifically chose, because half of it was focused on languages and the other half was focused on culture and history. I have to say it because, yes, believe it or not, that is one of the accusations that I've received.
So I am coming in this with a little bit of a bias, because I have obviously critiqued his systems before. So I do need to warn you about that. And therefore, I'm going to try and keep this as much just on the facts and less of like my own personal thoughts. Cool. Although realistically, I have had interactions with the guy, but you are now aware of that. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to map his languages onto the Common European
He's so
Framework.
good.
For those who have never heard of this, this is a system for basically analyzing someone's abilities within a language. If you're at A1, it means you're just started out the language, you've got the pronunciation, you've got some basic greetings, some basic, questions and answers, nothing too fancy. Then when people talk about fluency, they generally mean a B2+, which you can see is...
See, I didn't know that that's what he said, but that's exactly what I say. I think if you're fluent, generally speaking, it means an advanced B2. We are in 100% agreement with this. And I'd like to underline, when it comes to the Common European Framework, people will say I'm arrogant. I'm just trying to give you my perspective. But I used to be one of those examiners that gave you these. I know how these work because I used to be an examiner. I worked for Sitting Guilds of London, and I used to do this. I used to be the guy that you have to do the exam with in order to get this. And that's why I think it's normal. And so, yeah, for me, I know how these work really well. But for him, he also knows them well because we came to the same agreement.
Here near the back end of it. And then a native is generally C1, but an educated native will be a C2. Now, this does not take accent into account. People always ask about this. We don't care about accent with this type of thing. This is just your ability to create sentences and express ideas.
And as a former examiner and assessor, I'd like to underline the only way in which you use the accent when it comes to giving these is only if it's so broad that it impairs communication. So if you have such a thick accent that people can't understand you, even if your grammar is perfect and your vocabulary is flawless, you will lose points during an exam and you might not be given the level. So accents do play a role when it comes to this, but it's a secondary role. Likewise, if you have someone who is so good, you are so good when you speak whatever language that is your target language for foreign language acquisition, and you basically sound almost like a native, yeah, I mean, it will be taken into consideration in the spoken part, be like, man, this guy sounds really good. But if your grammar is a mess and your vocabulary doesn't work and you don't understand the questions, then your accent will be once again secondary. So it can be like a little cherry on top, if you will, but you can still get a very high level all the way up to C2, even if you still have an accent, as long as it's a light accent and doesn't impede communication.
And also, please be aware that this system is not like a linear progression. It's more kind of like a curve. So there is a bit of a difference there between like a B1 and a B2.
Massive.
Okay, so what we will be doing is referencing this community document I put together, the EvilDEA and community investigation of Mikel. As you can see, we've got all the information in here, and then we've got reviews from both natives and then also learners of each one of the languages he claims, at least where there is actually evidence available. Because with Mikel, for the majority of his languages, there's actually not that much evidence available, for example, Dutch and Arabic. So what I've done here is I've actually basically taken all of that information I've showed you and I've mapped his languages onto the Common European.
So let's have a look. He is pretty good then in several languages. So at least, you see, that's why I was saying maybe he's one of those who is talented, but he just needs to add this notes. How many did he add? 2, Arabic and Dutch. So he's completely elementary and he should not add them. This Polish and Ukrainian limited working, so these 2 shouldn't be added. So these should be the languages he knows, at least when it comes to this investigation.
European framework. Now you'll notice right around the middle there I've got elementary, limited working, professional and full professional.
Right.
That is the LinkedIn definitions for these levels. And you probably also realize that apparently all of these languages for Mikel are C2. Now I'm going to...
Oh, that's what he claims? Okay, so that for a moment I was like, man, this guy must be good. No, this is his claim. We need to see. So, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Man, for a moment, for once, I was trying to say, man, you see, so this guy's right. Maybe this guy, he still shouldn't say what he said, but maybe this... No, this is his claim. So probably reality is completely different. Oh my gosh. The claim is insane. I'm so looking forward to see how he dismantles him then.
They also realize that apparently all of these languages for Mikel are C2. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm pretty sure Mikel didn't understand what full professional meant on LinkedIn and just marked the languages he felt comfortable in as full professional. Because I highly doubt he meant that he is a C2 in all of these languages.
Of course.
Now, the ones in red are basically his native languages.
Okay. Spanish
is a native language. He did grow up in a Spanish-speaking environment, although Basque was actually his home language. So please be aware of that. But like all those others, English, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, he just marked them all as being full professional, which maps to a C2 if you...
Oh, I'll tell you. If we see some Italian, I'll tell you.
So
Sure.
you might have noticed that generally he doesn't tell us what his abilities are in different languages, and we're basing it literally just on that LinkedIn language list. And to be fair, that's not really a good way of like taking someone's claims into account, because it's not really a claim. It's just kind of like putting your languages on LinkedIn type of thing.
Right.
So realistically, he hasn't made a claim to his individual level in different languages.
He's being fair.
So we're just going to start off with this, and then we're going to move them into their actual position after having analyzed his abilities, and then that will be basically where he is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're basically going to work from left to right, from Arabic to Dutch, Polish, Ukrainian, and then all the way until we get to the end. Now here for Arabic and also for Dutch, you'll notice that we literally have no evidence of him speaking these languages.
Can you imagine you claim to be a hyper, ultra, mega, giga polyglot, and then you provide no evidence whatsoever to the public to demonstrate? It would be like me telling you, guys, I speak Japanese really well. Never made a single video about it. There are multiple videos of me speaking Japanese, not scripted, by the way, for those who are going to accuse me of the contrary.
Learning these languages or anything like that. Now, that's not to say he doesn't speak those languages. It's just that he hasn't released any content of him speaking either in a scripted or an unscripted environment these languages.
Okay.
So based on that, I've scratched out Arabic and Dutch. But again, he may speak these languages at different levels. We don't know. We just have no evidence of it. So now let's take a look at his Polish. Okay, so according to this document here, it's actually quite hard to find him speaking Polish anywhere, and the only thing we've actually found was a LinkedIn reference to this video right here, which is now unavailable. And if we go back to the document, one of our reviewers had actually previously seen this video, but it seems like he's deleted it or made it private for whatever reason. As you can see here.
Look, definitely not above A1. So I could claim that in Polish. I'll just learn a couple of swear words, like the one that starts with a C and ends with a URVA. And hey, I've got A1 in Polish. I want to see the Italian one. I'm so curious. Wait. So what have we got here? So this is some Russian, I guess. Ukrainian. That's Ukrainian. I speak A1 again. Oh, unbelievable.
Most of the videos with Ukrainian are dated late 2022.
So these are natives who are listening to him, claiming to know the language. A1.
Could not find any newer examples. At the time, he said he was just learning the language, and I confirmed that his level is definitely an A1. He demonstrated good pronunciation for his level, but most of his training videos consist of him sitting on a website for over an hour, listening to Ukrainian, not saying a word on his own part.
Right, so we have no idea he has improved or not. Okay. So Russian, we get a B1, B2. I'd estimate to be an A2 with hints of B1, so he should remove Russian as well.
Anything, really. Like, you can tell stories with it, you can prepare everything you're going to say at work in a specific situation. Basically, what you need to do is write down, this takes time, and it's quite a lot of work, but write down, or you could join my course, where you've got a pre-made list of language islands that you can use. But yeah, you write down a list of all the things you normally talk about. It's a good idea to look at your day-to-day life and write down what you've done today, like all the places, all the conversations you've had, all the interactions, all the things you've talked about. It takes some time.
His English abilities are high, as expected.
Right, but then I would like to underline what we just heard of his English. Clearly, he's conversational, he can speak the language, okay, great. But I know illegal migrants that, like in Italy, that speak English like that. In Italy, the reason why I'm being like this is not because I want to kick him down. His English is good. No one is saying that. But when you talk excellency, when you say, I am so good, I'm a hyperpolyglot, then I'm expecting that when you speak English, an extremely common language, I should be like, man, this guy sounds like a native. He sounds American. He sounds English. That's what I'm expecting. Not just because it's a matter of pronunciation and accent, but in general, I need excellency. If you're going to be a guru, you need to have excellency. If the way you speak is the same as pretty much everyone who's in this chat right now, and they can understand what I'm saying in English and whatever. Why is your method so special? You see where I'm going with this? I'm trying to be fair. But anyways, let's...
Has the typical foreigner accent, but that's for sure understandable.
Okay,
he can pronounce both of the TH sounds, but it's hard to tell since his microphone quality is so bad. He's fluent for sure.
Not
His
his
English
fault.
level is probably a B2 to C1. And they say, I think he is probably a C1 to C2, and then down to C1, but it could be a C2. It's hard to say, but realistically, he's completely fluent in English. There's no problems with his English. Okay, let's move on to French.
Maintenant, je pense pas que je suis en train de lire un livre en français. Parce que j'habite à côté de la frontière ici, au Pays Basque. On va souvent en France. Quand je voyage beaucoup. Quand je voyage, j'ai l'habitude d'acheter toujours des livres. Mais je ne me souviens pas maintenant quel est le dernier livre que j'ai lu en français. On va en France la semaine prochaine. Alors, j'achèterai
I'm understanding him, so his pronunciation is fine. Foreign, but fine. So is mine, by the way. When I speak French, I sound foreign. So I'm interested to see what natives are going to say, but I would already put like a B1 here, but maybe I'm wrong. They're going to say, yeah, A2. So I was actually too generous, believe it or not.
That he doesn't think he's currently reading a book in French, which is a weird thing to say. The rest goes off tracks and it's pretty incoherent. The topic is, again, just about learning languages.
I'd
probably give him an A2. Lots of mistakes, huge pauses, no variation topic, low level of vocab. Incomprehensible in parts. Since it's a live conversation, he struggles much
A2
more.
then.
His pronunciation often makes him difficult to understand. I would give him an A2 at most, just because of the error frequency and the difficulty shown in completing even basic sentences. There's a massive contrast between the second and third video. He seems to struggle a lot more when he's in an active, unscripted discussion. I think that's definitely suspicious. Plus, the person he talks with sounds like a beginner, and I don't think there was much difference between the both of them.
See, that's what I mean. Like, what's the point of going into hyperpolyglot? Let me see if I can find Italian then. So, what is this one? German? We could check his German, but I'm sorry, I want to know.
If you consider the fact he pauses often, in that case, I still wouldn't go anywhere below a mid to high B1. With full due respect to reviewer one's legitimate opinion.
Oh, they talk about the reviewers. That's cool. Let me see. Romanian. We could check Romanian in a second. Let me see.
Portuguese.
Se você quer aprender a falar...
Wait.
Italian down to a B1. Okay.
Oh, that was Italian? Oh, I need to see. Give me Italian. Is this his Italian then interview? Let me see. I'm going for it. Let's go.
To be able to really make a proper judgment. Okay, Italian.
Right.
L'italiano l'ho imparato quando vivevo a Berlino. Sì. Quando vivevo a Berlino c'era un scambio linguistico italiano-tedesco. Volevo conoscere delle persone e sono andato là e io pensavo che l'italiano, perché non è così differente dal spagnolo, sia facile, ma prima volta che sono andato in questo scambio ho visto che mio tedesco era abbastanza buono.
In the more recent...
Yeah, so people who are giving him a B2, they are being too generous here. Obviously, do remember, he comes from a Spanish native language, right? He's Spanish, and now he's trying to speak Italian. Okay, let me try and... I don't want to be rude or anything. So there are some grammar mistakes. Of course, when I speak English, I know that I make grammar mistakes myself. But I have to say, that sounds like, yeah, it's an A2. It's an A2 who gets pushed a little higher simply because he comes from a common Romance language. He sounds foreign. That's not a problem, though. In fact, I personally find his accent endearing. Whenever I hear someone trying to speak my language, I appreciate it. It was nice to hear him speak Italian. There were several grammar mistakes. He also said seria, which is basically mixing Spanish with Italian. And that's something that only beginners do. It's not impressive. And once again, the only reason why we are being so nitpicky, because under any other circumstance, I want to make this clear, I would have praised him. I would have said, man, I really appreciate that. You're doing great. Yeah, like keep going, man. I really appreciate you learning the language. You're cool. I love your accent, by the way. That's would have been mean in any other circumstance. But due to the fact that this is the guy that is hyper polyglot with 12, 13 languages, he sells you his courses, he's got the method, he claims you can learn any language in 3 months. Well, you didn't. That's why we're being so nitpicky with this now. And I'm sure you will understand that. Anyways, cool. Enough about languages for now, but this was fantastic. I love EvilDEA. He's such a good detective when it comes to these things. I really wanted to hear Italian.